Alt 92.3.
I need to know, where did you come from? And the reason I ask this is that as a fan of your music, it's a loaded question, but as a fan of your music, it feels like you just arrived on my doorstep one day this spring, like beautifully wrapped in a Harry Styles tweet, just ready for superstardom.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is exactly how it happened.
No. It was not. No, I think that's what's so interesting about music, right? It's like, and people who work in this industry, it's like I had this amazing response to this song, but I've been working since I was a child.
You got your first deal at 11?
I was taking meetings when I was very young in this industry, and it was crazy, and it was just, I spent years in the studio just learning production and meeting people, and then I kind of was like, my team and I sat together and we're like, we're ready, this is it, this is the song, and we put it out, and it felt really natural because it was just me growing up and figuring out what I wanted to sound like.
Yeah.
Right, but then for you, you think I'm packaged. You think I'm pretty packaged.
I didn't mean packaged like that, but it is funny because it's the old adage, as I'm sure you know better than most, where what looks to the fan base and the public as an overnight success is actually 5 years leading up to that day. Where the video's out, the music's ready, you're ready, Harry decides to tweet whatever, people pick that
was
up.
random, by the way. I don't want y'all think that I was like, hey, dude, do you want to hit me up? Give me a tweet or something? Bump my plays. Like, no, he just did it. He's a really sweet man. He's a very kind man.
Yeah, very dapper man too.
He's a very sexy man. Sexy boy girl man. He's so sexy.
Now, how did you find out that the tweet went out? Was it your notifications kind of like, gave that away?
I was like, why the f did it? I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Because I had no idea he was going to do that. And who sent it to me? Somebody sent it to me. One of my team was like, so this happened. And I was like looking at the tweet and it was like 200,000 people had already like retweeted it. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's about to get crazy. But it was awesome because it opened my eyes to all these queer kids who had been listening to Harry Styles and been supporting, him for his whole career. And I feel like I want to provide a home for them too, with my music. So.
Totally. You're getting giggles, you're getting oohs and ahs, you're turning this place upside down. I want to connect some dots here and kind of get everybody up to speed. If you're not familiar, maybe you love the music, maybe you're here in 1950 on Alt 92.3 because we're playing it and it sounds so good on the radio. But you were born in New York, which is cool, right here. And where were you born?
Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Awesome. Before it was cool, right?
Before it was cool, yes. Before it was cool. Way before.
But you actually, there was a time in your life where you kind of fled New York. You can kind of pick up on it in some of the lyrics to 1950.
Yeah.
And you were just angry with the city. So I was curious to ask, you went out to LA to, I think, study at USC, but other than New York not having an alt station until now, what else were you mad at?
What was I so angry about?
Yeah.
It was mostly the alt station. I was mad because I grew up here and I spent my whole life here and I felt like I was detached from how great it was. It wasn't like I was looking at it for the first time and being like, look at this amazing city. And I'd become cynical and I went to high school in New York. I went to a private high school in New York and it was really f***ed up. And like, it was easy to be like angry and because I was gay too. So I was like, on top of everything, I'm just mad. Like I'm just gay and mad. And then I left and the perspective was like, crazy because now when I come home I get to play shows, I get to like be a part of my community and be at my house and I appreciate it, but I needed to get the hell out, so I got out and I wrote an EP about it and you listened to it.
And then somehow we all found our way here today. Look at that. I want to talk about the EP Make My Bed. There's so many songs that I love on this. Since we are here in New York, I have to talk about Upper West Side, which I love. And I don't know if I love that song because I feel like I've dated that girl that you're writing about in that song, unfortunately.
We've been there. We all been there.
But it's funny to me because you listen to the lyrics. You guys know that song, Upper West Side? It's a great song, right? And you... We got a couple nods and a golf clap. Killing it. Isn't it like track, what is it, track 3 on the EP? But point is that you talk about this person in the song where you sort of, I don't know if you'd use the word resent, but you're critical of this person because they're after superstardom and they want attention and they want fame and they want it all for validation. And I'm with you. I kind of can't stand people like that. But yet here you are and you're experiencing.
I'm definitely that girl too. I want fame, success.
But what is your relationship with all of it? Because you go from that disposition of where you wrote that song, you're like, God, this person's the worst. Yeah. And then, but now you're kind of having to deal with attention and fame and superstardom. So what is your relationship with all of those components?
Well,
of
that
this
song
business?
is about wanting to be seen, but it's also about wealth and how people show it in the city. And how I grew up feeling like how you made yourself significant was by being rich, and it's evil. It's evil, and I watched it happen over and over again, and so that's mostly what that song is about. But there are lines about obviously wanting to be center of attention, and obviously I think it's a dichotomy because I am critical of others, but I'm obviously a flawed human, and I want the same things, and maybe the things that we love in other people and hate in other people are really just things about ourselves that we hate. Like, you know what I mean? Or love, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Everyone's like, oh, yeah.
Whatever you say.
No, I think that it's possible to dislike the things about yourself that you also dislike in other people and comment on them, and I think that that's how you grow.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I also
Dr. Phil.
The alt assembly is now the alt therapy session, by the way. We're rebranding it. No, but I think that's true, but there's also, I think, something to be said, you might agree, with like the means that you acquire that fame and that attention. Maybe you're born into it, maybe that's what you experienced in high school that made you so angry, but then maybe you do it through making people feel amazing and creating beautiful artwork, which is what you've done to sort of attain those things. So it is a little different.
I mean, it's a very personal process. Writing music and recording it and producing it is extremely hard and personal, and it's emotional. And my songs are meant to encapsulate that exact feeling that I was having at that time. And I think for Upper West Side, that was the tea of the moment. That was the tea of the moment. I was mad.
If if this music thing doesn't work out, it sounds like you can be a stand-up comic in your future.
Oh, my funny girl?
Sounds like it.
Girl.
Getting a lot of laughs.
I like that.
Music is I love music. I'm sure everybody in here is a devout music lover. And one of the coolest things about music is that you can kind of take painful experiences in your life, whether you went through them, whether you observed them, whether you heard about them, and you can kind of transform them into beautiful music, and you can transform the negative into a positive. It's a theme that I find in your music, and you think of a song like 1950 where you're alluding to a time in this country in the mid-20th century where you really couldn't be queer and in love in public. Or you think of a song like Talia, where you're sort of alluding to maybe some substance abuse as a coping mechanism. Everything's getting giggles today. Is that something you consciously do when you enter into the songwriting process of maybe taking from darker things and turning them into beautiful works of art?
100%. I think for 1950, I wanted to tap into something that I feel like myself and my friends and my community have always kind of been able to connect over, which was the understanding that our history is an incredibly important part of where we are now. And, a time where you couldn't be gay in public is like, feels distant, but it's not distant, and it's still happening all the time in the country. And I think that there's a lot of parallels to be made between the way that people just interact when they're in love and social, economic, political settings and affecting those relationships. Does that make sense? It's like, it's an allegory, playing 1950 it's an allegory for the time period that is past, and it's also extremely sad, right? But I think it's actually a hopeful song, secretly.
People are digging it.
Yeah, I think it's really hopeful. I think there's some because it's just
It's a beautiful song. It's a song that Harry Styles tweets about.
Yeah, Harry Styles is fire. I also love his music.
Oh, he's great, yeah.
His music's great. that 70s vibe.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And again, the fashion goes along with it. But
yes, the Gucci. I love the Gucci.
And the Chanel sneakers. Did you show him your Chanel sneakers? Speaking of
you gotta
fashion.
out me like that.
I know.
The Chanel sneakers.
Am I putting you on blast?
They were free. They were free, so I wore them. I would never buy these.
Something I did want to ask you about is I speak to artists sometimes.
Yes, I would. I'm sorry, Chanel.
I speak to artists sometimes that go by stage names as you do, and a lot of the times they talk about how the experience of doing that is they get to know themselves, the person, better by being able to escape and sort of speak behind the name of an artist project. What is the relationship in between you as a person and then, of course, King Princess, the artist?
I think that they're pretty much the same people because I feel so comfortable with the way that my music presents my personality and my person. And I think I'm so lucky because a lot of people use it as an escapist, thing to have a name. And I just really like the name. And I feel like it provides a little bit of safety, but mostly it just expresses who it's also a gender thing. It's like for sure a gender thing. Like we've all had our moments, but I feel, I feel very in between a lot of the time. And I think the name and the whole thing, it just perfectly encapsulates my soul. And so I get to be myself with the safety of a different name. And that's really cool.
That is really cool. Well, I want to give the room over to your cheering section here. We've collected some questions from them.
What's up, cuties?
And I'm going to say your name. I hope I say it right. And if you want to just stand up, I believe how this is done is I'm going to ask the question, but they're going to be standing up. Is that, yeah? All right, cool. Is Kaylee O'Farrell here?
Come on,
up.
Kaylee.
Look at that. I honestly don't know either, but I'm gonna start by not bringing you up because I don't want to get in trouble.
Kaylee's sneakers are
I know. You stole it. I was gonna.
Those are great. Those are really
Those
fierce.
are really cool.
Oh.
Oh wow.
That's
All
cool.
right. Well, Kaylee, I gotta ask the question if you want the question. When are you playing Holy and send pics?
Why do you guys gotta drag me like this? I just did 5 shows.
I love Holy though. I'm with her on that.
She's coming.
Yeah.
She coming. My voice dropped, so I have to figure it out. It's coming.
And then send pics. That's like an old one, right? Or
yeah, send pics is
SoundCloud.
Oh, she knows. Yeah, we're gonna figure it all out. I'm gonna find a way.
All right. There you go. Great question. All right, let's get to Kayla Gran. Right on. The first row. All right. So Kayla wants to know, where do you get inspiration for your songs?
Ladies. Ladies. And sometimes friends. So, sadness, happiness, just intense emotion. Do you know what I'm saying? Was that helpful? Cool.
All right, we got time for about 2 more guys. Ariel Reeves. Right on. Okay. What's your coming out story?
Oh, I love that. I did not really have a formal coming out because I got to high school and I had made out with this girl and everyone saw it and so they all knew and I rolled up and they were like, that's that gay bitch. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm bi. And they were like, no. They're like, no, you're not. So, yeah, I didn't really have a formal coming out story, but I had a girlfriend and my mom I didn't really tell her, and she was coming over all the time, and my mom kind of was, at one point she sat down with me and she said something like, I saw how beautiful you and your girlfriend were, and it didn't matter the gender. And it was so sick because I was like, this bitch is gonna hate me. She's going to kill me. No, and it was dope, and and it felt really good. And I like to think of that as my coming out. But I've been out forever, girl.
All right, we have time for one more. It's a short one. I know we're out of time. Shania O'Neal.
What's up, Shania?
Right on. All right. I don't know if Shania was... No, you said it was a guy that requested the Ohio, right?
Was it? I think it was somebody who... Yes. My dude.
Oh, yeah. The boss requested it. All right. So Shania from the Bronx, I should say, wants to know when are you going to release Ohio?
On my record that I'm finishing, it's written. She's written. The whole thing's written. Now I gotta finish it. But it's coming out, and it's gonna. I want it to have like a special place in the record, because that one's. It's got something. So, is that helpful? I don't know when my record's coming out. Soon? Like end of this year, probably. Maybe. No, my manager's like, F you, bitch. He's like, soon.
I like how concerned you are with if you're being helpful or not during this.
Well, I want to, if they're going to ask, they came here, won a contest, and I want to, like, you know, give them something good. Like, just kidding. Is that helpful?
Do you have a name for the record yet?
Oh, no, I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me that?
It's secret, but I'll drop hints.
Okay. Can you drop one hint right now? Any hint. Get creative.
You can't put me on the spot like
No,
that.
think of a hint, and then we can all look back at this like, oh, that's what she meant.
I'm going to tweet it at some point.
That's the hint?
That's the hint.
That was not helpful.
I think I've already tweeted it.
Have you?
This is too much now.
This is a lot?
Now I feel like I'm playing Clue, and I'm not into it.
All right, well, one final round of applause. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for
guys.
by King Princess.
I always do better when it's cold outside. They say it gets better when it's warm.